executive, friends, colleagues, comrades, and good afternoon and welcome to our 2018 annual meeting. I almost said 1998 annual meeting. Let me begin by, if I may, by acknowledging and thanking the First Peoples of this territory and other Indigenous peoples for sharing this land in order for us to conduct our meeting over the next several days. My friends, for the past 20 years, our annual meeting has been the cornerstone of our union democracy at work. And as delegates, you play a central role in that process. You're here representing your 83,000 colleagues from across the province, and over the next few days, you will collectively decide how your union, how we together will move forward. I want to start by, if I can, just by recognizing some people in the audience, and because it's our 20th anniversary, to do something a little different. But first-time delegates have been mentioned, and I would very much appreciate it if you are a first-time delegate, if you would stand up and be recognized by the Assembly. How amazing, and thank you for being here. And I think we have a first-time delegate T-shirt, Sharon, I think, somewhere for them. I did this last year, I want to do it again this year. We have some amazing people who work for us, so to speak, on the ground in schools and work sites across this province, and that's our ETFO stewards. If you are an ETFO steward, we can't thank you enough, but will you stand up so we can recognize you? Those standing up just keeps increasing and increasing. And our local presidents. I can't tell you on behalf of the executive, me personally as president, how much we rely on and appreciate the work that our local presidents do across this province. Local presidents, please stand up and be recognized. Thanks so much. And if I may, I want to take the time to thank the executive and our GS and DGSs who do a phenomenal job, have done a phenomenal job, passionate and dedicated work since our last annual meeting. Thank you so much. Join me in thanking them, please. I guess I should have asked you to stand up. Now I'd like all of you to stand up if you don't mind. Seriously, everyone. So here's what I'd like you to do. Just to think back 20 years, if you have attended the last 5 annual meetings, stay standing. If you haven't, sit down. First-time delegates are saying already I have to sit back down. Now, if you attended the last 10 ETFO annual meetings, stay standing, and if you haven't, sit down. So we're back to 2008, I think. If you attended the last 15 ETFO annual meetings, will you stay standing? Wow. And if you have been to every annual meeting since that first one in 1998, stay standing. If not, sit down. Thanks so very much. Amazing. My friends, listen, I can't tell you how proud I am to stand here once again as your president of this amazing federation as we celebrate our 20th anniversary. 20 years as a united, inclusive, strong union. From our very first annual meeting, and that's okay, I love it. From our very first ETFO annual meeting in 1998, we have faced many challenges and massive changes in our education system. Many of you will recall, certainly those that stood up who attended the first annual meeting in 1998, that in 1998 the Conservative government of Mike Harris forced the unprecedented amalgamation of 129 Ontario school boards and created a funding formula that meant boards could no longer raise money from their local tax base. A funding formula that to this day plagues our schools and our work and does not reflect in any way actual student needs. As a new federation, it was time to act, as we had to reconcile our collective agreements with those recently merged school boards. It took 20 takeovers, 3 strikes, including a lockout, but we managed through sheer determination and our collective strength to get it done. And very soon thereafter, ETFO stepped up to defend our members against Bill 74, a bill that would have made extracurricular activities mandatory, anytime, any place, any day of the school year. And we also launched Accountability Yes, Certification No, a multi-pronged plan that was key to defeating a proposed 5-year recertification cycle for teachers. My friends, we had a modest beginning. Back in 1998, we had just over $1 million in our defense fund, and I think the year after we were in a deficit situation. But delegates to our 2001 annual meeting and subsequent annual meetings made extremely important decisions that have resulted in our ETFO defense fund being the strongest in the country, with a current balance close to $170 million. In 2000, delegates to the annual meeting voted overwhelmingly in favor of 2 historic motions. One, to join the Ontario Federation of Labour and the Canadian Labour Congress, giving us the opportunity to take our place in the broader labour movement, and 2, to establish our so very vital, important political action public relations fund. Over 20 years, ETFO has launched some very successful collective bargaining campaigns. Campaign 200, There's No Substitute, Close the Gap, Control Your Future, and Our Union, Our Values, Our Profession. And key to every one of those campaigns was the solidarity of our members, and in each campaign it was their solidarity, their unwavering solidarity, that allowed us to secure some incredible gains. 200 minutes of prep time, a cap on supervision, class size caps in grade 1 to 3 and recently FDK, additional funding for special education and frontline support staff, a reduction in class size averages for grades 4 and 8, the elimination of our 2% salary inequity, limiting the number of diagnostic assessments, paid professional development for OTs, a provincial health and safety working group, and ensuring that teachers' professional judgment is respected through our collective agreements and PPM 155. And my friends, the list goes on. And as you know, in 2012-13, we stood strong against Bill 115. And collectively, we did everything in our power, including setting up picket lines in every local in the province to fight for our collective bargaining and charter rights. In October 2012, we launched a charter challenge against the Liberal government and their draconian bill. And 4 years later, on April the 20th, 2016, the Ontario Supreme Court released this decision, letting everyone in Ontario and the Liberal government know that we had won our charter challenge, a landmark decision against Bill 115. My friends, as important as it is, we know that bargaining is just one aspect of the great work we do together. For example, we fought hard for an FDK staffing model that included DECEs. And then we organized and welcomed our DECEs colleagues into ETFO, one of the best decisions we ever made. For over 2 decades, we have implemented very successful campaigns and lobby efforts. We've grounded our advocacy and public relations work on building better schools, published numerous position papers, developed and shared unlimited resources, and just this past May, we released the 100th volume of PRS Matters. We continue to facilitate the best member professional learning and engagement in the country. We've trained and prepared new generations of members through our AQ courses, Summer Academy, numerous conferences and workshops, and continue to fully engage members through Union School, Women in Action, Leaders for Tomorrow, and most recently through our multi-year strategy for addressing violence in our schools. And together, we have enhanced our national and international work through the ETFO Humanity Fund and doubled our participation in CTF's project overseas. And in 2011, we moved into our new home, our LEED Platinum building at 136 Isabella. But let's not forget that as we did all of this, ETFO has been actively promoting, standing up for, fighting for, pushing for equity, equality, social justice, and basic human rights for all within our union, our schools, and throughout society. Through all of our work to eliminate poverty, establish gay-straight alliances, taking on white privilege, homophobia, transphobia, and Islamophobia, our 365 ETFO Black Canadian curriculum, or our body image project, our unwavering work related to truth and reconciliation and LGBTQ2I issues, we have never hesitated to push the envelope. And in June, your provincial executive made another progressive decision when it approved a multi-year strategy to address anti-Black racism. This in the context of the International Decade for People of African Descent. The strategy calls for enhanced data collection of Black and racialized members, a review of the Federation's policies, training, advocacy, and continued development of curriculum resources that explore Black history, culture, identity, and current daily realities of racism and discrimination in a respectful and reflective manner. And finally, we should all be so very proud of the fact that from day one, our ETFO Constitution has included designated seats for women on the executive, 6% funding for women's programs, and that at the 2019 annual meeting, a year from now, we will collectively, for the first time, elect members into designated equity positions. Amazing. thinking about bold, progressive decisions ETFO has made, I continue to be so very proud of the decision the executive made recently for the first time in our history to endorse a political party in a provincial election, the Ontario New Democratic Party. I have been, and I know the executive has been, so very impressed by the work ETFO, our locals, and our members did to have an impact on that election. Together we took a stand and shared a positive, inclusive, dynamic vision for a better publicly funded education system, and we made sure we got out to vote. You helped distribute over 12,000 ETFO lawn signs and window signs, and together we knocked on thousands of doors. I want to recognize and congratulate our member Jennifer French for being re-elected the MPP for Oshawa. I'm also pleased to congratulate another ETFO member, Terence Carnahan, the new MPP for London North. And congratulations to ETT member Felicia Samuel, who ran a great campaign and came within 1,000 votes of representing Scarborough Rouge Park. And I must recognize that 10 ETFO members, the 10 ETFO members who put their name forward to represent their community as an MPP. Just amazing. Listen, as you know, it's been a chaotic month or so at Queen's Park, to say the least. But I can't tell you how absolutely reassuring it has been to have Andrea Horwath as the leader of the official opposition, and in total 40 NDP MPPs, many who have stood up every single day during this session in the legislature to hold the Conservative government and Doug Ford accountable. Thank you, Andrea and NDP MPPs. Colleagues, after all of that amazing work, and with 40% of the vote, we are now left with a hostile Conservative government with a majority for the next 4 years. One that within 30 days of being sworn in, apparently wants to go back in time to that Mike Harris era back in 1998. Exactly. Been there and done that, and we're ready. Where should I even begin? I know you're thinking health curriculum, and I'll get there. But let me first comment on some of the absolutely outrageous things this government has brought to Queen's Park. It is absolutely shameful that the government is attempting to find efficiencies by canceling writing sessions on American Sign Language, Indigenous languages in kindergarten, and truth and reconciliation. Exactly. It was so very disrespectful to Indigenous educators, elders, and knowledge holders who were all giving their time to support Ontario educators, this important initiative, and our students, for the Ford government to cancel this session and to do it without any notice. This government may not believe in upholding their responsibilities to the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, but the rest of Canada does, and ETFO does, and we have made a commitment to support the recommendations, and we will do everything we can to advance reconciliation and see that those writing sessions happen. You all know that we have a $15 billion backlog in school repairs and infrastructure repairs in this province. So very irresponsible and short-sighted that the Ford Conservative government cut $100 million from school repairs and their funds that boards have been waiting for and planning for in every corner of this province. Shame. It is absolutely reprehensible that this government broke their promise and cut the basic income pilot and slashed social assistance rates and ODSP. With a stroke of a pen, 4,000 people, families who are part of that pilot are now trying to figure out how they will pay their rent, put food on the table, and many are now forced, as you know, to put their futures and their dreams on hold. I say shame. And then there's the interference in the City of Toronto Council elections and shutting down any input from the public through the long-standing Democratic Legislative Committee process. Suddenly, consultation with the people, particularly in Toronto, doesn't matter. Make no mistake, there is more coming from this government. You know that they have brought in former Premier of BC, Gordon Campbell, to review spending line by line, and we all know what that means. It's a setup. It will be justification for moving ahead with more efficiencies, better known as cuts to public services and jobs. And they're just getting started, my friends. But don't panic, because by Labor Day, we may have buck a beer. How absolutely insulting. Mr. Ford and the Minister of Education seem disturbed by the fact that we and others haven't raised concerns related to the math curriculum and EQAO scores. I say to them both, all in good time, my friends. I also want to, and I need to say to the Premier and the Minister of Education, stop misleading Ontarians and parents. There is no such thing as the 2014 Health and Physical Education curriculum. It is simply outrageous that of all the things we could be addressing in public education, we're left with a government that wants to govern for a socially conservative base and take us back 20 years instead of addressing the real issues in publicly funded public education. The Premier needs to know that he can't simply repeal 20 years of progressive progress, and nor can he push it all back into a closet. The government's decision to revert to the 1998 Health and Physical Education curriculum, apparently to allow for further consultations, is irresponsible, it's discriminatory, and jeopardizes the safety and well-being of the students our members teach. Since the Conservatives announced their plan to return to the dark ages when it comes to equity and inclusion, there has been an unprecedented response from a coalition made up of educators, parents, 30 school boards, and some 36 community, faith, and legal advocacy groups, and the medical profession, including 1,800 healthcare professionals who recently signed and delivered a petition to the legislature. All of them, all of us, calling on the government to continue to utilize the 2015 curriculum and prepare our students for the world of 2018 and not the world of 1998. My friends, let me be very clear. ETFO strongly denounces the government's decision and will advise all members that they should continue to exercise their professional judgment when it comes to teaching any or all sections of the 2015 curriculum. Listen, we're just getting started. Teachers have fundamental responsibilities and obligations towards their students, including the duty to ensure their safety, well-being, and their fundamental human rights. These obligations are enshrined within the Education Act and the standards of practice of the College of Teachers and cannot be taken lightly, and they cannot be ignored. The government's actions are in direct conflict with teachers' fundamental professional and pedagogical obligations, as well as the Ontario Human Rights Code and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. These outrageous actions infringe on the freedom of speech of teachers to provide a proper education to their students, are discriminatory, and pose significant threats to the safety and security of our students. Teachers will not be muzzled by a government whose political agenda takes precedent over the protection and education of their students. But let me be clear, ETFO will vigorously defend, do whatever we have to do to defend members who continue to follow the 2015 health curriculum, and will pursue all options to respond appropriately to this government's reckless behavior. In this respect, we have instructed our legal counsel to intervene in any proceedings before the Human Rights Tribunal and provide full support and assistance to the applicants of those cases. ETFO appeals. I'm appealing to all school boards, not just the 30 who have stepped up, but all school boards, to join us in this action by supporting teachers who demonstrate care and concern for their students. Our students deserve nothing less. Listen, in concluding, or trying to conclude, I want to let you know that we will be ready for the next round of bargaining. And last year, the executive committed to getting input, reviewing our processes, and establishing workable timelines. And I'm pleased to report that all of this is well underway. In addition to consulting with legal counsel, we held a critical input session with representative council members in May, and the executive has recently approved a comprehensive member input process that will be rolled out in the fall. In addition, and as you know, there are a number of motions related to central bargaining that will be put forward and debated over the next few days. I want to thank our local leaders and rep council participants for their initial and valuable input around goal setting and establishing our central list. And there's much more to be done in the coming months, but together we will refine our processes and we will move forward together. My friends, ETFO and our members have faced a great many challenges over 20 years, and we have always risen to the occasion. And this responsibility, as we move forward with this new government, now rests with all of us and our colleagues across the province. This is your annual meeting, and we're all here because we are motivated, I know, by a desire to support our members and protect public education in our province. We may have different ideas about how to do that, but I know that over the next few days, through respectful debate and discussion, we will land on the strongest direction to move our federation forward over the next a year, and more. All of you have something to contribute to this meeting, and I encourage everyone, as I know you will, especially first-time delegates, to get up to the mic and share your ideas and your experience, your position with all of us. We are all stronger for it at the end of the day. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to spend this week in August here together at our annual meeting, and I wish all of you a great meeting. Thank you.